15 of you have joined. So I think I
Okay,
can
good morning.
begin the class. Yeah. Yes. Ripojoti said Yalulu means is it friends?
Yeah,
It's
so he
friends.
always used to make fun of me, like calling Yalululu means like that.
Okay, okay, good. So okay, so today's class is about five sources of sublimity, right?
Yes, sir.
So okay, good, great, bravo. Which bravo? Bravo means yes. Bravo Sahadev. 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 So let me share with you a slide that I have prepared. Yes, please share my screen. Okay. Can you see the slides?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
that's good.
yes, sir.
Slide show. Okay. So I have prepared these slides for you. So as I have discussed the thing yesterday about the writer and about what is sublimity. Okay, but still, since I have prepared the slides, I am showing it. Like on the sublime, it means in Greek language, it is called perihypsos. Yesterday, Tamal was asking about this perihypsos. What does it mean by perihypsos? It is nothing but it is the actual title of it, or you can say it is in Greek language. It means hypsos means sublime or sublimity. So you can say perihypsos. It's on the sublimity on sublimity. So apart from that, it was written in epistolary forms, okay, and it was dedicated to Posthumius Terentianus. Posthuminus Terentianus, maybe pronunciation, I mean, I have the wrong pronunciation, might be, but uh, it is written like here, you can see. So, although he was not so prominent figure in history, but he was a cultured Roman uh, man who is very, I mean, at that time, well-known figure, but not so prominent to know. I mean, prominent that I mean, we know him. It is only because of Longinus people know about him. I mean, know his name. So that means it is dedicated to this man. Okay, remember these things. And perihypsos means on sublimity, and it is written in epistolary form. Then you know it. It's loftiness. I mean, sublimity is sudden loftiness distinction. Just a minute. Harmony. That is the problem. I do I need to open it in my mobile phone also, so that I can add people. Just a minute, let me open it in Google, my mobile also. It's the code. Code is this one. So, so ঠাকুর এটা শোনা যাচ্ছে না, লো ভয়েস, ঠিক আছে। So sublimity is, I mean, there's loftiness and distinction and consummation of excellence in language and expression. স্টুডেন্টরা জয়েন করলে কি করতে পারবে তাই। Expression and composition, it is the echo of a great soul. It raises its style above ordinary. You can say it's not an ordinary composition. Since it is the echo of a great soul, the composition should be uh, having the higher appeal. Though some people considers that it is sublimity is the gift of nature, it has nothing to do with the artistic ability of the man, but there Longinus interfere, and he said that yes, it is man can attain sublimity with practice. It is not only the only the natural quality that is important, but also this artistic quality also can create sublime content. So he also says that a great work of art does not only please or instruct, as Horace considers it to be, but it also moves or transports or elevates the person. Means it has the capability to, besides pleasing and is instructing the person, reader, but it has the capability to transport him, to elevate him, to move him, to change him altogether, change the reader altogether, him or her. If I say him, you have to consider it her also, because it is the if I do not say her, you also have to consider it is her also. Okay, in present context. So it means it pleases all, and it pleases all the time. And he also says that nothing is poetry unless it transports. Means if you read a great piece of work, you will always sway away with the motion of this particular piece of work. Means it has the capability to carry away from your present situation to its world, means the world of the writing, world of the text. So that, if any text can take you to or transport you from your present situation to the situation of this text, then it is considered to be a sublime text. So that means, according to him, the work of art becomes excellent only when it has the power to sublimate. And by sublimity, Longinus means elevation or loftiness or of a certain distinction and excellence in composition. Okay, so he talks about 5 sources of sublimity, which are grandeur of thought, then powerful emotion or passion, use of figures, noble diction, and dignified composition. So we will discuss these 5 things in detail. So as I have talked about this, talked about these 5 things yesterday as well, like this first 2, that is grandeur of thought and powerful emotion or passion these 2 are natural talent, means it is innate quality of the person, but the other 3, like use of figures, noble diction, and dignified composition, are considered to be extra ability, artistic ability of the writer, of the author. It can be attained through efforts, and in view of Longinus, this grandeur of thought and powerful emotion would not independently create great work unless and until the writer uses the figures of speech properly, or unless and until the writer uses noble diction in it, and unless and until the composition is little bit dignified or presented in a dignified manner. Therefore, he combines two types of thoughts, that is, the natural talent can create sublime content. On the other hand, the artistic content would be sublime content together. Though earlier these 2 branches of thought had, you know, uh, uh, some kind of debate or some kind of quarrel between these 2, but he combined these 2 into a single uh, philosophy, and he talked about this philosophy that is called sublimity, that sublime philosophy. Okay, so grandeur of thought, he means, it is the principal source of sublimity. It's largely the gift of nature, means the gift is already there in the man. It is the innate quality, but the man with mean and servile ideas cannot attain sublimity. It is only the great thoughts springs from great souls. He says that everyone cannot have this kind of lofty thought. If you have great soul, you have great thought. If you want to have great thought, you must be a great soul first. Great thought is the echo of great soul. It is not the wordings of a mean or servile man, or mean or low man. It is this idea that comes from the person who thinks about the universe as a whole, not for the particular people. It does not, the person, the writer, who has great soul, who considers the whole universe as unity, and he writes for the whole universe. It is not for only particular people or particular time period, particular moment. The things that he writes or things that, I mean, the thought itself should be very archetypal, very basic, very rudimentary. Means rudimentary to human understanding. I mean, it should be understood by everyone throughout the globe. It is not. It should not be limited to a particular area, particular field only. Therefore, it is that great idea, great thoughts should be propagated, and this great thought only, I mean, echoed from the great soul only. So, in the words of Longinus, we can say their words are full of sublimity, whose thoughts are full of majesty. Okay, means those who have, uh, uh, I mean, whose thoughts are majestic thoughts, will create the sublime content. Therefore, sublimity demands skillful selection and organization of these material. Means here he says that, okay, the writer, the author has great thought, lofty thought, grandeur of thought, but he needs this sublimity demands skillful selection and organization of material. Means because if he cannot propagate his thought, then it will have no value. That, that thing, that's why he talked about this thing here, that you need to skillfully select and organize the material. The details should be chosen as to form an organic whole, and the imitation is also one of the significant paths which lead to sublimity. Okay, here he also talked about the imitation. Okay, this a person, if one wants to, or wants to create, although I mean he tries to say here, propagate here, that although it is the natural quality of man, I mean grandeur of thought is natural quality of man, but this natural quality also can be attained, if not completely, but up to certain marks, it can be perfected through imitation. Here, this imitation, if anybody's thought is, quite natural to the nature, to the natural creation, that when I was talking about Plato, I talked about this, that imitation. And if anybody can create something quite natural, that is considered to be the best work. Okay, so this imitation, if you imitate the imitation, means in Longinus view, if you imitate the great works, especially like if you want to write epic, then if you follow Homer, if you follow Milton, if you follow Ramayana, Mahabharata's writing, then you will have idea. You will have idea how they have presented the thing, how they have presented the content, and what are the thoughts which are most common. Therefore, if you imitate such kind of thought, such kind of expression in that way, then you can attain the goal, of grandeur of thought as well. Means he, by saying this, he tries to say that yes, though it is natural talent, though this thought, lofty thought, is naturally natural quality of a man, but it can be imitated in at least up to certain extent. Okay, so the next is strong
Sir,
passion.
what does this
Yes,
organic whole mean actually?
yes, Shobik.
What this whole actually mean?
Unable to hear you properly. Your voice is breaking.
Sir, what does the term organic whole actually mean?
Can you write it? Can you write it?
Yes, sir. I'm writing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, if anybody gets him, then please you can tell me what has he asked, so that I can continue the discussion. Okay, organic whole. Okay, okay, good. Shobik, organic whole means it should be presented as single whole, means as single entity. It should not be. I mean, means in Aristotle's, while discussing Aristotle's theory of drama, theory of tragedy, we have discussed this organic whole theory. Means that from the beginning to end, you will present one single thought, one single story. Means if you are talking about the tragic story of Hamlet, you have to stick with that tragic story of Hamlet. You should not digress. I mean, you should not blend this tragic story of Hamlet with Mephistopheles story in it. Means or you can say Dr. Faustus in it. If you can use Dr. Faustus in it, if it is, it helps you the plot that is of Hamlet only. If it is not related to Hamlet, you should not add it, you should not include it. Means I mean, in case of tragedy, though there is a little limited in scope, but in case of epic, there are multiple dimensions, there are multiple branches, I mean multiple aspects have been dealt with in an epic. So in that case also, he especially means to say that the whole I mean diversions might be there, but altogether all the things should be dealing with only one topic. Ultimately, everything will connect to the one topic, that is particular subject matter, like Trojan War that is depicted in Iliad. So in Trojan War, there are so many. I mean, main focus was Trojan War, to depict the Trojan War in a epic Iliad, but he talked about so many things. He wrote everything, all, I mean, every sorts of things from the life. Especially in Mahabharata, you can see that so many things are there. Whole world is there in particular text. But the main focus is that main focus is the fight for the justice. Fight for the justice. The Pandavas fought for the justice, and that is the main focus. And everything that is related to it is, I mean, are discussed or I mean, put together in that. I mean, whatever you will read, it will have some certain contribution in the main plot. Therefore, that is why it is called the organic whole. The story should have the organic whole. I mean, considered to be the single piece of work. Okay. Okay. Next is the strong emotion or strong passion. You can say that strong and inspired passion is the second significant source of sublimity, and the vigorous treatment of it is very essential for acquiring sublimity. So strong emotion is an inborn gift of a genius, though, and according to Longinus, nothing makes so much for grandeur as true emotions in the right place. Okay, but he does not talk about this subject in detail, because he promised to give a detailed study, a detailed view on the emotion, strong emotion. But he, second in his second edition, but this second edition is not available. He could not write second edition, perhaps. So that's why it is written in a brief manner possible, but the main theme of this particular section is that if you want to have a sublime literature, sublime text, you should have that strong passion, strong. You have to propagate strong emotion. You have to have the strong emotion in it. I mean, uh, you have to be passionate if you want to write about something. That great thought and great passion should be there. Means you have to, use the basic, at least the core, not exactly basic. I mean the core thought process. Core emotion. You have to talk about the core human emotion in perfect manner, so that you can express your feeling, so that you can express your innermost thought, that is you are nurturing inside your breast. So that's why it is very important to have that. At the same time, he talked about the emotion at right place. For example, in place of at the time of death of somebody, if you would, if you are addressing with uh, you know with some mock epic, if you are treating a subject with mockings, with some humorous tone, then that will not work. You have to use elegy or similar kind of poetry. So the as per the emotion, this also you have to use the different kind of device to express these thoughts. So you have to use the particular situation, as per the situation you have to use that particular emotional uh, 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 tone, and you have to use particular way of presenting the thing. Okay, next one is the use of figures, especially it is the third important third principal sources of the sublimity. And he says that it can be acquired by art, means it can be acquired by practice, means it helps the creation of the sublime. Figures of speech should be used in a natural manner. Here it means that to express your thought, the lofty thought and emotion, you have to naturally present these emotions and feelings to create, to exert some uh, uh, importance, or exert some uh, meaning, proper meaning. So it has to be presented in a natural manner. Should not look like you are using, overusing, not using it. It should not be like overusing the figures of speech. It should be, they should be employed in right place, on right occasion, and in right manner with right motive. Only such use strengthens the sublime, and the sublime supports it. Otherwise, it will be pedantic. Your presentation would be called pedantic, and your only the bombarding use of figures of speech will not work. So basically, he talked about a few figures of speeches like rhetorical questions, apostrophe, as ascendaton, hyperbaton, periphrasis, anaphora, diatyposis, polyptota, etc., to contribute much to the sublime and add greatly to the beauty of language. So there are so many figures of speeches. He talked about the thing. Main concept is that the figures of speech should be used properly. It should be used rightly, at right occasion, in right manner, and with right motive. So that, why do you use these figures of speech? To make your expression appropriate, to make your expression brief and crisp and full of message. Okay, therefore he emphasizes on the use of figures of speech. You can check the meaning of this and use of these figures of speech. You can study about the rhetorical prosody section. Then there you will find this thing in detail. Okay. Next one is the noble diction. Well, here he talks about choice of proper word. Means one has to cull the appropriate word to express the feeling and emotion. It's not only the use of figurative language, figures of speech, but also you have to be very selective in choosing your words to express the particular emotion, particular feelings, particular thought. So it is very simple. That he says that beautiful words are very light of the lofty thoughts. Means only the beautiful words, selection of beautiful words will be uh, 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 if you use these beautiful words, then only you can express your lofty thought. Then he says that trivial subjects should not be treated in a grand manner. Trivial subject should not be treated in a grand manner, or you cannot. It means the inappropriate magnificence of diction should be avoided, and the use of metaphors. Okay, uh, he says that uh, you know. Uh, so trivial subject cannot be or should not be given a lofty or grand, cannot be should not be presented in a grand manner. Although later on that mock epic was developed, that is to mock using the trivial subject matter in and presenting in presented in a lofty manner. It is another type of literary piece, but again in that mock epic type thing, even then the subject matter is trivial, but it is presented uh, in a ironical way, in a mockery way. I mean, it is meant for mocking. That and that intention of the writer is irony, not the actual uh, yeah actual that emotion. There also this emotion and thought is to mock the personality. The subject is thought is to mock the personality, person or thing, so that the person or thing can be changed. Intention is, feeling is strong, feeling is, thought is wise, lofty, that he or she wants to change the particular person, but the manner is used as ironical, or tone is used as mocking tone. So uh, this is also it's not we can say trivial subject. The subject is that yeah, cutting down the hair, a lock of hair in rape of the lock is considered to be a trivial subject, but the things that have done by the society people is not a good thing. Therefore, writer wanted to, mock this person that you are doing such a trivial thing, and you are presenting this thing as a great work done by you, and you are enjoying that thing. But even then, this thing is altogether is not a trivial matter. It's a matter of dignity of the woman with whom you are playing with. So this is how the subject should, I mean, trivial subject means, for example, if you are writing a poem on chair and you are presenting the chair in such a way that you are talking about a huge topic. So it depends, of course. This you can write a treatise on the chair itself, but if you instead of describing the chair in bombastic manner, you can use the metaphorical, with metaphorical meaning of the chair. Like, chair is the symbol of position. Chair is the symbol of, chair can be the chair of God, the chair can of king, and this way, if your thought is uh, elevated thought, then this topic would, on the same topic, on the same subject, that chair would be the subject of sublime, subject of sublimity. So depending upon your presentation, does depending upon the thought and passion, how passionately you are talking about the chair will become the main, I mean, the manner you present the thing, and with passion you present the thing, will become the uh, extent of sublimity. So here, to do that, you have to use particular, I mean, your diction should be noble diction, so that you can present the same thing, I mean, in different manner. So here, one contradictory thing this man used is that in place of noble diction, he talked about the use of metaphor and ornamental language. Means, as we know, that metaphor is considered to be the queen of figures of speech. Means it is the most used figures of speech, most used figure of speech, and he includes this figure of speech surprisingly over the noble diction. So anyway, we cannot criticize. I mean, if you want, you can criticize him that if it is use of figures of speech, in place of figures of speech, you can add metaphor. But here he used it. It's no problem. It is also the one kind of selection of word, uh, and that's why it's okay. I mean, at least you can question, no problem. It's free to question. So anyway, that main thing is that the choice of proper and striking word is essential for producing sublimity. Okay. So the Therefore, you can use a great deal of metaphors to create sublime content, but you have to be limited. I mean, it's not like unnecessarily you are comparing the chair with everything all over the globe. I mean, the, on the chair, we can, keep our globe. So this next one is called dignified composition. Here it says that the words or the figures of speech, the diction that you have selected to express your grandeur, great thought, lofty idea, and with strong passion will create meaning. But he suggested that if you present these things in dignified manner, means in harmonious way, if you arrange these words in harmonious way, then the meaning, this particular text will give you great pleasure. When the readers will read the thing, read the composition, here the reader will get the proper emotion of the speaker, and readers will get the charm and the organic unity of the context or of the text. Means here you can say the arrangement, dignified arrangement means the use of rhythmic language. Use of rhythm is very important. Means he this man Longinus talked about. Longinus preferred one kind of a particular kind of rhythm called ductile hexameter. Okay, he preferred ductile hexameter in place of any other meters like pyrrhics or trochees or some other weak meters. In place of great or dignified subject, like Homer used hexameter, ductile hexameter, to present his idea in Iliad. Similarly, he also supports that view that it's preferable to present your thought through ductile hexameter instead of some trochaic or other pyrrhic pentameter or other meters. Though it is not hard and fast rule, but always it is preferable. So that is these are the 5 things should be very strictly followed by the writer, so that the writer can create a dignified subject, a lofty subject, a sublime content. Well, before conclusion, I would like to tell you that, okay, if anybody follows these 5 things, would it be enough? And if anybody does not, if anybody used excellent language, gorgeous language to express one emotion, and he used very selective words, would that be sufficient? Would that be sufficient for become a sublime text? So therefore, he talks about true and false sublime. He says that these, person should have A true sublime thing should have the capability to lift your soul. Means a true sublime lifts our soul. It raises it. Okay, it raises. R is missing. It raises from lofty ideas, clothed with lofty language. It gives us joy and exalts our spirits. The more we read it, the more we enjoy. Every every time it suggests new ideas and new feelings. It means every time you read the same text, you will have different meaning. That's why religious books, Bible, Quran, and Gita, these types of religious texts uh, have multiple meanings underlying its I mean in between the language, in between the lines. So every time you will read, you will find it different in its meaning. So that's why these texts are very sublime in nature, and it never grows stale. Means every time you read, you will find that it is very new. It's not. It gives you new idea, new knowledge altogether. It will not. After reading it, you will not find that it is the waste of time. So, in short, the true sublime pleases all and pleases always. That is the true sublime. On the other hand, the false sublime false sublime consists merely of a gorgeous exterior which conceals nothing but emptiness. In case of true sublime, the language, the metaphor, and the other figures of history is used to conceal the main subject, the subject that is very important. The message that you want to propagate is full of universal aspects, is hidden, concealed in the text. But in case of false sublimity, it is the emptiness that is concealed inside this text, inside the gorgeous exterior or the gorgeous use of language, bombastic use of language. So there is bombards of language. Affected pompous language is used to clothe thoughts which are essentially trivial and puerile, and there is also cheap display of passions unwarranted by the subject. Means if you have overused the language with low passion, with low thought, it will not give you true sublimity. That is all. That is all about this sublime. That on the sublimity, on the sublime by Longinus. Thus, Longinus is, in conclusion, we can say, thus, Longinus is one of the greatest master of criticism, mostly a classicist as well as romantist, because he he suggested to follow the old masters, as well as he experimented to form a new method. Writers have the liberty to write of their own instead of following strictly to the old master. Therefore, he is, especially Scott James, R.A. Scott James, called him the first romantist. So he is both classicist as well as romantist in literary criticism, among the literary critics. He is the pioneer in the field of literary appreciations, and his own Sublime is the first and a unique treatise on style. His prescriptions of sublimity are universal in nature. Therefore, it appealed throughout the ages and throughout the globe. So that's all about sublimity. Thank you for attending the session. If you have any question, you can ask me. Yes, students. Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
If you have question, you can ask me. Is it clear?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, sir. So from the Sublime, we will only study sources of Sublime.
Sources of Sublime. Yes. And basically it is there. Sources of Sublime and true sublimity, false sublimity. Okay. That
Okay, sir.
you were talking about the questions, right? That I had shared
Yes,
with
yes,
you.
yes,
So these questions were basically given in the first class itself, like
yes,
here in the first class itself I have given the
mm,
24, that who is the actual
yes.
writer of the sublimity on the Sublime. Write a short note. This can be the this can be the question. One question can be like this only, and
Okay, sir.
these are the question that I have given you, na? So
Yes, yes, yes.
more or less this will be the I mean question.
Okay, sir.
So what do you mean by natural or artistic sublime? Write a brief note on true and false sublime. What, according to Longinus, are the sources of sublime? Write a note on each source of sublimity. What do you mean by sublime? Yes, definition, and how do you define it in context of literature?
Okay,
So,
sir.
yes, these are the very limited
So
number of questions that will be asked from this text. Okay.
can we relate the Bakhtin's concept of taste with this theory of Longinus?
What? I'm not getting
Can
you.
we relate the concept of sir? Can we relate? That means can we relate the theory of Bakhtin's concept of taste with the theory of Longinus?
The theory of Bakhtin.
Bakhtin's concept. Yes, sir. His concept. He has given some rules for a tasteful work, right?
Hmm.
So can you relate this thing with that?
Yes, yes, you can relate. You can. I mean, it is said. Longinus' theory of sublimity is universal in nature. So you can use his theory, or you can use any text or anything, any concept or any philosophy. It is not limited to only the literature. It is not limited to any subject. Especially I mean if anything is you know uh, anything meets these qualities, then it will be sublime in nature. So you can compare or contrast with anybody, anything. Okay.
Okay, sir.
What else? Okay, then you have other classes all as well, I think.
Sir,
Yes.
so we are done with Sublime, or you
Yeah,
will
yeah.
so sir, from in next class you will start with Aristotle's Poetics.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
We'll revise the thing. We'll do the thing again because we have so many classes. And if you have any query regarding anything, we'll discuss in the last class, last 1 2 classes. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes. Shobhik. You,
Then we have we have learned about mm, the sources of sublime first,
yes.
and the true and false sublime, and those questions you have given to the Google Classroom.
Yeah, more or
Okay,
less.
sir. Only
Okay,
these things.
mostly these. So nothing else. Okay, guys, then it's 11 of 2. So I'm disconnecting, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Tata. Have a nice day.
Okay, sir.
Bye,
Thank
sir.
you.